Activision Blizzard flexed its financial muscle in the fourth quarter. The video game giant's sales were well over $1 billion thanks to blockbuster sales of its latest title. Still, there are some concerns about the company's outlook. Our senior West Coast correspondent Jon Erlichman is here with the Activision story. Jon.
Yeah, well, look, there are two sides of gaming right now. There's social gaming, and that is the wheelhouse of Zynga. And then you've got a company like Activision Blizzard, which makes games for the gamers. I mean, this is a company that in many ways is like a Hollywood studio. They spent all this money creating their games. The most recent one that came out in November, one of the latest in the Call of Duty franchise, which had incredible numbers in the first 16 days, $1 billion in sales, a faster way to $1 billion than James Cameron's Avatar. But you're only as good as your last big hit. And so a lot of the questions on the company's conference call today were about what they've got planned for the new year and also trying to gauge the subscription revenue they get. They try to, steady out the earnings by getting people continuing to play online to say, look, it's not about, just having one hit this quarter and none the next.
And rival Electronic Arts has been nipping at Activision's heels. They've just come out with a new Star Wars game going right against Activision's World of Warcraft.
And they have an equally impressive story to tell. I mean, they came out earlier in February with some strong numbers, in part because of how the Star Wars game has been doing. But, the big difference between these two is that Electronic Arts has said, we're going to go plow ahead in this area, and we're also going to plow ahead in social gaming. They bought PopCap, a company that was featured here on Bloomberg West, for a lot of money, and they said, we're going to make a big bet in that direction. Activision Blizzard has kind of said, that's not our wheelhouse. We're going to make the blockbusters, and we're going to make it sing that way.
Yep, EA's also got the Sims game, one of the top social games on Facebook. They're going gangbusters there. Thanks for that, Jon. Now, for more on Activision's earnings, let's head back over to our editor-at-large, Cory Johnson, in the newsroom. Cory?
Who knew you were such a gamer, Emily? I'm surprised. Impressed.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
All right, well, for more on Activision earnings, we've got Brian Blair, an analyst with Wedge Partners, who was on the call and covers the company. What do you make of the quarter? First of all, Brian.
You know what, look, I thought it was a great quarter. They came in ahead on the top and the bottom line, driven obviously by strength in Call of Duty. But I think that, they're also seeing some strength in the Skylanders property, which for me was really the biggest takeaway in the call. That was, I think, a growing trend in the holiday season. But they said on the call, this is their next $1 billion opportunity. So they actually think that this could be as big as Call of Duty. And I think that was the part of the call for me that was most surprising. The other thing is that a lot of people expected the World of Warcraft subscribers to drop off substantially. The prior quarter, they were down 700,000. This quarter, they were only down 100,000. So from 10.3 million to 10.2, not as bad as everybody was expecting. So a little bit of good news, I think, in that regard.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about World of Warcraft. It seems like the slide there, it continues. I mean, yes, it's less, but that game, it seems like it's on the wrong side of peaking.
You know what? They reached 12, 13 million, subscribers globally, with a lot of those users over in China. The reality of it is there's a lot more competition there now. Even ahead of this recent Star Wars release, there have been a lot of these so-called MMORPG games that have proliferated in Asia that are not made by Blizzard, that have done well. And if you go into some of these gaming halls in Taiwan and in China, you have these rooms with 50, 100 people playing games. Used to be all World of Warcraft. Now it's really a cross-section of different games, a lot of them locally made.
Now, I can't remember, are they doing development in China for Activision now for the next Call of Duty?
They're doing some development over there, but the bulk of the development is still going on here in the U.S. for Call of Duty.
And what's next for the Call of Duty franchise? Is there already time to look ahead?
It's going to be time to look ahead at E3. That's when we're really going to get the best look at that. What they've been doing every other year is they've been going, for the last 3 years, they go modern, and then they'll go to World War II. So that's why you have this modern warfare versus Black Ops, and it's gone back and forth. So what we're looking to do this June is hear them going back the other direction, away from the modern, but doing something maybe that takes place in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for this company. I mean, it seems like launching new franchises here is going to be really important for them going forward.
It is, and this is the perennial question with Call of Duty. Every year people say, can it be $1 billion again? And every year it has been. Activision's continued to deliver a bigger and really better product, I think, every year for Call of Duty. And the franchise is 7 years old, and there's no sign of it slowing down, especially with this new Call of Duty Elite service, where they're really tying their community members together in a better way. But like I said, I really think the story here this this calendar year is going to be the Skylanders. Next week, we have a potential catalyst for the company in this at the Toy Fair right here in New York, where we're going to learn about the next iteration of Skylanders. They're going to offer larger figurines, but this looks like it has a tremendous amount of momentum this year for them, which is great.
Yeah, and with Chuck Norris on their side, they can do no wrong. Let me switch gears a little bit,
Sure.
Even beyond Chuck Norris.
Yeah, never bet against
Google.
Chuck. Never bet against Chuck is what I was going to say.
Exactly. The Chuck Norris spot's a great one. Google, we just broke some news here on Bloomberg about a new sort of consumer product, wireless home effort. What do you make of this from Google, another company you cover?
So what we know is that we've been hearing they've been testing a few hundred devices, secret devices of some kind, in the homes of Google employees. We also know they purchased Motorola, who makes hardware. So we also know they have Google Music, which is a cloud-based service where you can upload your entire library and store it to be stored in the cloud and stream those songs onto any of your devices. So I think it makes sense that they're going to do some type of a music streaming service in your home. And I think what we're going to see from Google, and this may be one of the first things we see, we're going to see them move more in the direction of Apple, where they're taking software and they're going to take the Motorola's hardware expertise. And I think we're likely to see families of hardware products coming out from them, aside from just what we've seen with the Nexus smartphone and tablets. I think we are going to see more devices for the home. I mean, Google TV is something we know is happening, and they're attacking it in various directions. So we're going to see this for sure, Cory.
Well, Brian, outside of the notion of deworsification, the old Peter Lynch thing, does this suggest they're going to keep the hardware manufacturing part of the Motorola mobility business that a lot of people assume they're going to spin off?
I think it does. You know what? I think that there's a real lesson to be learned from Apple in controlling the entire software and hardware experience. And I think if we look out, 2 or 3 years from now, I think we're going to have what I refer to as the 5 screens. Between your TV and your desktop and your notebook computer, your tablet and your smartphone, there's going to be this line of continuity. And I think that Google knows in order to meaningfully participate in that, they've got to influence some of the hardware. They're still going to have licensees and partners that make it themselves, but I think they are going to definitely play on the hardware side.
All right, Brian Blair, Wedge Partners, thank you very much.